Life is an amazing podcast, and it is presented and hosted by myself, Caro, and my sweet dog Sparky. Give it up for him. So Go for Your Life actually means to do something to your heart's content. It is a phrase used in Australia and the United Kingdom as an expression of encouragement. So this podcast is to encourage, to inspire, and to uplift. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. Welcome to a new episode of Go for Your Life. And I have my dear friend Kari here all the way from Munich. We are doing this through Skype. And she means a lot to me. I think that for this episode, I really wanted to focus on life lessons. So life lessons with Kari. Because I think she's an amazing mentor and an amazing teacher and also a very close friend. So here she is, Kari. Welcome to this episode.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this with me and having this conversation. I know who you are, but maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit to the listeners of who you are, what you do, all that.
Sure. I am a yoga teacher since 2004. I'm trained in the Jiva Mukti method. That's how Caro and I know one another. But I also did different trainings as well. So I also teach some kind of vinyasa stuff. And in the last several years, I got more interested in having a bigger impact on my students and private clients. And so I got into also doing coaching, health coaching specifically within the lens, if you will, of Ayurveda. So I do health coaching courses, and I'm about to change some of my courses somewhat. And I also do a lot of my workshops and retreats are also centered around kind of easy, everyday topics in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is, of course, the sister science to yoga. It dates back about as old as yoga does. And it is the oldest healing science. And the practices are really complementary, of course, to what we practice in yoga. So it's what I'm currently doing along with teaching yoga. And I do it also privately, but both privately as well as in a group experience.
And have you done a course to do this, the Ayurveda?
Yeah, I've taken actually lots of courses. I did a longer, I think it was about a 1.5 year long program with my Ayurveda teacher. Her name is Cate Stillman. She's in the United States. And then I also took another a 1-year-long course with her, and now I'm in another one now. I also do sort of my own independent reading and study, but I've done several coaching courses, yeah.
Because you also have your own clients, right? Like you're also coaching yourself, like you have, and you have those. They are like 2 months courses or something like that. Like what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, what I'm currently doing is it's a 10-week long course, and we go over different health habits which come from Ayurveda, and then I also give a little bit of a background into Ayurvedic theory in terms of like how Ayurveda views energy, how energy combines into doshas, how outer environment is also being mimicked in inner environment. So I give a little bit of the theory, and then also just really kind of easy to understand, not necessarily easy to implement daily health habits which come from Ayurveda. And so it's coaching, but then it's also educational. And there's also, if it's the group experience, then it's also like a community of people that are also looking to upgrade their health habits and feel better and have better impact in their communities. So.
And do you feel, I think it's really hard to generalize, but from your point of view, when you're coaching these people, are people healthy? Do people have, or do they really need to be looking at these things?
Yeah, I think that right now, primarily I'm meeting people through the yoga center. And maybe also maybe people who follow me on like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, but primarily from the yoga center. And I would say that the biggest health issue that I usually see for the people is, for lack of a better word, like stress and not being able to have good practices to deal with when stress arises, because of course it's inevitable. And I would say, and like kind of burnout prevention, this type of stuff is what I see a lot of, especially in Germany. It's a very fiery culture. But I would say, as far as, the training that I did, and most of the people that were in my program were American. And so, of course, the health issues that you see are very regionally specific. Like if you were doing it in Lisbon, you would have different things than I have in Munich, and then American. So like, for instance, like, because I know you do, of course, a lot of work on plant-based diet, I would say, certainly in every course, maybe not the majority are vegetarians, but a lot of people are vegetarians. That even if they do eat animal products, they still eat lots of plants. So, and they don't really eat much processed foods, generally eating bio. But I would say what I see most often is that, we live in such a culture of information overload. For good, we have access to every type of, health and lifestyle plan design that we might benefit from, but that doesn't mean we're necessarily doing it. And so I see a lot of people who know what's best for them, know how they function optimally, but they don't really they maybe haven't put aside the time, or they haven't really found the community. They haven't had really the support. And you and I were talking about this a little bit before we hit record. Also, when you're in a group, and then also when you're being coached, it's a different experience than if you're just reading a book. Like, we've all read books on, what's the best for whatever, what type of exercise is best for you, or about nutrition or what have you, but actually doing it is another thing. So I would say that sometimes I'll get people who have like chronic migraines, or maybe they have, the autoimmune disorders are very common. So they may have like some kind of Hashimoto's thyroid disorder is quite common, or psoriasis or things like this, these type of autoimmune disorders. But I don't get usually people that are like really chronically sick. They have just good habits, and then just some things that need to be refined if they want to be feeling better.
Yeah, and habits is like a big thing, isn't it? Like the habits that we have, and then that we're trying to get rid of. Like that's also something that you are looking at, right? With your coaching. Yeah. And
what I'm attracted to with working with my teacher, and then I of course did a lot of reading on my own, was like I was just saying, like we know maybe what works best for us, but we don't know how to change our habits. And what we do repeatedly, like you can just kind of like get on some sugar binge or what have you, and especially appropriate now because it's holiday time. But if it becomes something chronic, or if you're chronically overworking when there's a big project, then it starts to become like your regular everyday behavior. And then it even starts impacting how you see yourself and how other people see you. So I do focus also quite a lot every week. We talk about something related to how we change habits, because it's a really hot topic, as you alluded to. There's quite a lot of behavioral science out there now about how we change habits. There's a lot more light, I think.
Yeah, I really loved your last newsletter, and it's something that I really wanted to talk about because it really like hit home for me, and I think for a lot of people, because I actually have that thing where I think I'm not sleeping enough, and I think a lot of people are not really conscious of how bad they are sleeping, or how they're not really not really wary of how much we need sleep. I think it was such a great, because you're right, I love your newsletters anyway. Like I always really love reading them, and I was like, and usually it's something that I'm going through, and it's really like that's a habit that I found really difficult, because especially when you do so much, it's like kind of like, I want to go to sleep at 10, but I'm still doing stuff, and then I need to get up early again. It's like really, it's a really difficult thing. Is this something that you could like give some advice, or also to people that are listening, like who are going through this, like
on sleep?
Yeah, like what you were writing was really great.
Yeah. I mean, I started, one of the reasons I started studying Ayurveda is because I came from, my mother has insomnia, and I struggled with insomnia for many, many years, and it's still, I don't think I'm ever going to be, well, I don't want to say that necessarily, but I'm not a person to whom I could just fall asleep in any type of environment. It's really, I have to work, really be very diligent about, I guess I would say. But yeah, I think that, I mean, there's several things that you're saying in there. Partly, as I talked about in the newsletter, we have, in yoga philosophy, we have these 5 koshas, with which people who are yoga teachers are probably familiar with the koshas. Mm-hmm. And we have so the koshas are the sheets, or the ways that we experience the self, both from a subtle to a gross level. So on a gross level, we of course have the physical body, which we nourish by eating healthy plant-based foods that aren't processed, that are bio, that have a lot of energy in them. And then we have also the energetic body, which we work with when we do pranayama practices. The yoga practices themselves give you energy. Sleep definitely gives you energy. Being out in the sun gives you energy. We have a mind body that's made up of our thoughts and our impressions and our preferences. And we have also a intuitive body, more on the more subtle level, and also a bliss body. But the mental body, as you were saying, is so developed for most of us. Like we live 80% of our lives in our mind body. Mm-hmm. And if from when you wake up, you're looking at your phone and you're looking at the news and you're looking at your emails about what you have to do and what you have to respond to, the first thing that you're waking up is your mind body. And the last thing that you're closing down is your mind body. So It's not really a surprise that if 5 bodies and one of them is getting almost all the attention, that then it's hard for actually to hear what both your energy and physical body are saying when it's time to wind down. So I think that, what I teach in the course related to health habits is like, one of the top ones is actually looking at what you're eating for dinner time. For many people, something that I find is that the workday has extended into way later than it had for our parents and our grandparents. And so, and lunchtime, and also at the same time, lunchtime became something that you're just kind of grabbing fast at your office canteen or what have you, but there's not as much thought for sort of the standard person who's working maybe a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. And then dinner time is like, finally I can like rest and relax and spend a long time cooking a dinner and make it really special for me or my partner or my family. But then that means that if the workday is also later and then food preparation, everything else happens, and you're not eating dinner until like 9. And then you have all of this food that's usually a little bit more, most people, is what I see people struggling with, have a more elaborate dinner, which means it's also more difficult to digest. Mm-hmm. And it's going to stick around in your body for, probably 4 hours or so before you really feel like your energy's going down and you'll want to sleep. So the first health habit that I usually have us work on, mainly because it gives us the biggest kind of bang for the buck, but also because it has a big impact on the other habits, is having an earlier and lighter dinner. So what that means in Ayurveda is eating dinner by hopefully 6 p.m. When we have, the least digestive fire in the evening time, and then also focusing on it being lighter. So I know probably a lot of your listeners are vegans or vegetarians anyway, but even as a vegan or vegetarian, you could actually have, like if you're eating fake meat products, for instance, that's quite hard to digest. Probably that during the daytime. If you're eating bread, it's better to do that during the day. Yeah. And because these things will have a big impact on, if your body is like bogged down with all this digestion, you're going to feel energized, maybe not necessarily in a good way, but